front understanding to how serious this really is.
Oh, yeah. I think people get this impression that we're this backyard pseudoscience, and, maybe many years ago we were, but it's like any new field. It takes a while to get accepted, and the process of acceptance is accelerating very, very rapidly. When I first went public with this, there was a lot of skepticism around whether these are actually there, and the standard thing, he's suggesting it's imagination. Interestingly enough, most of that skepticism over whether it exists has faded now, at least with the areas where I'm very well known, and the questioning are now over, well, what does it mean? Sure, we can hear these phrases, but does it really mean what David says it means? And, it's just the ongoing evolution of any new field. There'll be questions and answers, and we'll just keep on researching. I don't pretend to have all the answers, but I've got 14 years up on anyone else, so...
That's it. All right. Now, the obligatory, and we do this at the beginning of every show, and take some of the old originals, just a few, to give everybody an idea, and we have a lot of new listeners, of course, all over the place, in Canada and all over,
right.
And they've never heard any reverse speech, so we give them the first several classics just to get your ears sort of tuned and ready for what you're going to hear.
Okay, well, the very first one I'll play, the very first one I nearly always play, is also the very first reversal I ever found in normal human speech. And this is Neil Armstrong taking his famous first steps onto the lunar surface. Here it is forward.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And you run that in reverse, and he says backwards, man will spacewalk. I'm going to run it at about 3 different speeds for you.
Man will spacewalk.
And again.
Man will spacewalk.
And once more.
Man will spacewalk.
And anybody who can't hear man will spacewalk doesn't have ears.
No, that is so clear, and it was very interesting the way I found that. I was just actually running a compilation of famous radio broadcasts backwards, and something heard this very clear phrase. Actually, the very first 2 words I heard were spacewalk. I didn't hear the man will till I went over it a few times, and I had no idea what was on the forward dialogue, and suddenly reversed this track to hear Neil Armstrong walking on the moon, and I'm going, what on earth is that?
Yep, let me do this at the beginning, too. Anybody out there with a tape recorder or with a computer can take these same sound clips and reverse them at normal speed and hear exactly what's being played for you on the air tonight. End of story. If you don't believe it, try it for yourself, right?
Oh, sure. Anyone can try it, and you'll get the same thing. It was amazing. I was on San Diego News this morning talking about all of this, and they took some emails in, and we got an email in from an audio engineer who said, well, this stuff is very easy to fake. You can just tweak the sound and, cut and paste words here and there. And
look, I warranty that's not going on. I've reversed myself. Yep. I know.
Yep.
I know. It's the exact thing, and anybody who doesn't believe it ought to shut their mouth, save their email and or fax paper from me, and just try it before you open your mouth.
Oh, yeah. I can assure you these are straight backwards. I've not touched the tracks at all. If I was to do that, I would have been rejected as a fraud ages ago. You cannot say this is David Oates faking for tracks. That's not
right.
Happening.
That's right.
I assure you of that.
All right. Now there is the world of babies, and this one, folks, will blow you away because David maintains and will now prove that children, before they can speak it forward, when they still are just doing baby talk, however, whatever babies do, ba 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 boo goo, actually produce reverse speech. In other words, they have learned in their right brain before they've learned in their left brain to say it forward, and we can prove that, and he'll prove it to you right now.
Okay, well, the first one I'll play is my daughter at 10 months of age. She's in the bathtub. She's trying to pick up a cup. She can't pick it up, so she reaches out to me for help. We'll run it forward first.
Right. Total baby gibberish.
Absolutely. We run it backwards, and we hear 3 clear words. There is also a faint word as well. The 3 clear words are David, which is obviously my name, followed by help me. And if you listen very hard, there's a very quick please just before the help me. So it's actually David, please help me, but the clear words are David, help me. And here it is. I mean, just
I will forever tell you, she is saying, David, help me, David.
Oh, okay. Well, let's run that again one more time.
Yeah, and listen to the ethereal sound here, folks.
Yeah.
It's sort of as though it's coming from the ether, which I believe it is.
Yeah, it's such a classic sound.
Yep. And as a matter of fact, I hear, David, please help me, David.
Right. I can certainly hear the please that David's got me thrown. Let's just do it one more time.
All right.
Oh, yeah, right at the very end.
At the very end, David, very end.
Well, I'm listening for the obvious words, you know. So,
all right, the other one is the other one I love so much is the one where you've got the microphone right in your child's face.
I've got that pulled up right now. I'm chasing around the room with the tape player. She suddenly sees this tape player and reaches out for it.
Now, bear in mind, everybody, this is a child with a tape player right in front of its face. Now, what is a child with something new in front of it likely to say? Here you go.
Okay, well, let's just play it, see if people can hear it.
Okay.
And for those who missed it, it says, what's that?
Yeah, what's that? Give it to me at regular speed again.
Okay. And listen, let me do something interesting just to illustrate a point here. I'm going to run it forwards and backwards, and I want you to notice the forward, she says, aga, a definite G. But when you reverse it, where's the G gone? When you're looking into a lot of people will sometimes, they will try to analyze the letters and the words phonetically and try to reverse that.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. We're reversing sound, not words.
Exactly.
And it's a whole different world backwards. Let's run that forwards. Notice the G forwards, no G backwards. Backwards.
What's that? Clear as can be. What's that?
Quite amazing, actually. And let's look at some other oddities of reverse speech. One of my favourite soundtracks nowadays is a fire tape. We had a house fire back in April of last year, and this actually is a classic illustration of the high emotional aspects of reverse speech. And I'm in my office. I'm recording a session with a client. My secretary runs in the room and says, David, the house is on fire.
This is the Los Angeles, Texas one. Yes? What? Something burning on the other end.
Okay, obviously highly emotional.
Yes.
And she's obviously telling the truth, because in reverse it says practically the same thing. The house is on fire, our house is on fire. And again.
That, to me, is impossible. I understand that it is what it is, David, but how can the same thing be said in reverse as is said forward? It has to reach some sort of emotional pitch that you can barely imagine for that to occur, I guess.
That's the point I'm making. High emotion.
All right. Now, folks, you've heard what reverse speech is. When we come back, we're going to begin to examine things you have not heard before, or if you have very rarely. The world of reverse speech with David John Oates. I'm Art Bell.